Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan.
And I'm Jessica Moore. We begin here at 5 with confirmation. The man who killed 4 people inside a Midtown office building in July did have a traumatic brain injury.
Shooter Shane Tamura had low-stage CTE. That's a degenerative brain disease linked to repeated head trauma. Investigative reporter Mahsa Saeidi has been following the story since it broke. She joins us now. Mahsa.
Dick, Jessica, good evening to both of you. Last night, we looked into this case, reporting that the findings were imminent. Well, now it is official. We want to note the shooter never played professionally in the NFL, but still, at just 27 years old, he had developed this serious brain disease. Tonight, the city's chief medical examiner says they found unambiguous evidence of low-stage CTE in shooter Shane Tamura's brain. Tamura killed 4 innocent people in late July, then shot himself in the chest. The former high school football player asked his brain be studied in a suicide note, where he also mentioned CTE expert Chris Nowinski by name.
He played for 12 years. I think that's one of the more important points, is that 12 years absolutely puts you at risk for developing CTE. Low-stage CTE does represent significant changes to the brain cell death in the frontal lobes, which will affect judgment and behavior. There's no question about that.
The ME's office says, quote, the physical and mental manifestations of CTE remain under study. Police say the offices of the NFL on Park Avenue, the shooter's target. Tonight, the league responding, saying, quote, we continue to grieve the senseless loss of lives. There is no justification for the horrific acts that took place. As the medical examiner notes, the science around this condition continues to evolve. Nowinski says the 4 victims of the shooting must remain the focus. But this case is a wake-up call.
We shouldn't look at this and say this was why he did it. This hopefully is a wake-up call that we need to do more to prevent brain trauma in young athletes because there are consequences for some of those people.
And the NFL says they have been a leader in player safety. A spokesman tells me in 2024, they had a record low number of diagnosed concussions. They're hopeful that all levels of the sport, including high school, are going to follow their lead here.
Mahsa, we all remember those eerie handwritten notes that Tamura left behind, almost now predicting his own demise, asking investigators to look into whether he did have CTE. Did the medical examiner find anything else?
So obviously they have confirmed that he had CTE, but what they cannot tell us is that was the cause of the shooting.
You know, we heard that rather curious statement from the NFL that the science of CTE is evolving. What does that mean?
So the expert I talked to, he's been studying this for 20 years, and here's what we know. If you get hit in the head hundreds of times over the course of many years, there is going to be a consequence. It increases your risk of developing mental illness, not always, but in many cases.
Wow.
Apparently like this.
All right, Mahsa, great work. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mahsa.
And for the latest on the investigation into the Midtown mass shooting and to see all of our past reporting on the case, go to cbsnewyork.com.